It is 7 o'clock. We're going to call the meeting to order. The first is our flag salute. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. All right. We could do the council picture at the end or when we shut down, so that way we're not recording as we do the picture. So we can wait for that. Roll call, and we have Carissa Kearns, who is filling in for Jim. Jim is on vacation, so she will be here in his place.
Mrs. Bullenbacher? Here. Mr. Chandler?
Here.
Ms. Compatello?
Here.
Mr. Hove?
Here.
Mr. Oliverio?
Here.
Ms. Polkownik?
Here.
Mr. Radilla?
Here.
Mayor Perry?
Here.
Solicitor Corbel?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. All right, the first item is the consent agenda. We have the council meeting minutes from last meeting on January 11th. We have the bill list from January 25th. We also have the November and December reports. All of these were up. All of these were uploaded onto the OneDrive as of Tuesday this week. One change I do want to make is from the bill list is to pull the gateway invoice out of the bill list for pending for our approval. Any questions or comments around any of these items on the consent agenda? Motion to approve. I need a motion to approve the January 25th, 2024 consent agenda.
So moved.
Mr. Radilla,
Second.
Ms. Bullenbacher, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Public comments on agenda items. At this time, citizens may address the Crafton Borough Council on any issue appearing on today's agenda. Only residents and taxpayers of the Borough of Crafton will be permitted to address the council. Comments on non-agenda items will be taken at the end of tonight's meeting. Speakers will be permitted to speak for a maximum of 3 minutes. Groups of people will be required to designate a spokesperson to represent them before the council, who may speak for a maximum of 5 minutes. Please state your name and physical address for the record. Do we have anybody signed in on the sheet there, Mike? No? Okay. And if you're on Zoom, just raise your hand. Okay. All right, first item is the president's report. I have nothing to report tonight that's other than that's on the agenda. Mayor's report.
I have two things to cover tonight. The first, I'd like to show the community and council this commendation that our police department has received from Jamie's Dream Team. Our police officers often contribute either time or resources, stickers and hats and that sort of thing for children who are undergoing various kinds of treatments and that sort of thing. So they received this beautiful plaque and like to commend the department for that. Also having to do with the police department, our chief, Mark Sumter, as some of you know, is in our drop program and will be retiring later this year. So in anticipation of that, we are pulling together a ad hoc committee to begin the process in the next few months of searching for the replacement. We will be having our first meeting this coming Monday at starting at 5:45 to just begin to get situated into what this search is going to be and what sorts of things we can expect from the search. We will have a guest speaker, retired Chief Tom Ogden. He has a lot of creds, but his most recent posting before his retirement was as the police chief for Carnegie Mellon University. So we're looking forward to getting that process underway. And that's it for tonight.
Thank you. Solicitors report, Mr. Corbel.
Thank you, Mr. President. Two quick things. First, the zoning hearing board hearing that occurred last Thursday at 6 with respect to the variance on the hedges up on off Crafton Boulevard. The zoning hearing board voted to reject the request for the variance. The zoning hearing board issued a written decision the following day, January 19th. And the applicant has 30 days to request an appeal. So I will let you know if anything comes down the pike. And secondly, following the meeting today, we'll have a short executive session to discuss personnel matters, as well as receive advice of the solicitor regarding property matters. That's the end of my report.
All right. Thank you. Managers report, Ms. Kurtz.
Jim did not leave a report with me.
So I can speak to the Connect
Yeah, that's
meeting.
the end.
Unfortunately, there was a meeting today and had some car problems, so I wasn't able to represent at the last minute. Oh, you were there? Oh, wonderful. Do you want to say anything about it?
Would you like me to give a report now or at the end? I thought I would add it at the end, but I can give a report now. I did go to the monthly Connect meeting today. It was very well attended. It was in Wilkinsburg. We are a member of the group of Connect, group of municipalities that share resources and collaborate. They had a number of different updates today and things that they're working on this year that I think we'll continue talking about in our community. Some of the priorities that came out of today's conversation. They have been testing out a composting program over the last year, and they've received additional funding. So municipalities can sign on to join that pilot program, and they'll be developing what that looks like, but that would be at no cost to us. So I did indicate that we're interested in learning more as that proceeds. Another big topic that came up today was recycling and waste management. I know we'll touch on this at the end of our agenda, but our contract is expiring after this year. Our garbage and waste management and recycling will stay the same this year. But next year it will expire. So we'll be looking at a new contract, and many other municipalities are in the same position. So that was something that was discussed today and will, I'm sure, be discussed in the coming months, opportunities to share resources or share in shared agreements for contracts with better terms. They also have been developing a solar program. Many of the programs that Connect offers, it's essentially resource sharing. So they're offered free of cost to municipalities. And they've been developing a pilot program also to offer free consulting for EV programs, electric vehicle placement and site assessments. So these are things that we can look into taking advantage of. And then they had a presentation on the Fair Housing Act and description of some current code compliance, including descriptions of some ways that many municipalities are not in compliance because codes were written a long time ago. And they talked about some upcoming opportunities for funding, as well as some currently available free resources for consults that could help us review our ordinances and make sure that we are in compliance.
Boy, am I glad you were able to attend today.
And the item here is they will be here at our February 8th meeting. Okay. Which is our next meeting. Okay. All right, standing committee reports. The first one, Finance Administration and Sustainability. Ms. Perry.
So I'd like to speak to the fact that this committee has changed its focus and its name. We will be having our first meeting this Monday at 7 p.m. Finance Administration and Sustainability. So things like the composting program that Ms. Capitello just mentioned should be of interest. But the biggest thing, as was mentioned a few moments ago, is that our waste management contract, which has been going on for 10 years at this point, will end at the end of this year. So this committee will be working aggressively with our manager and with our partner organizations to see what we can do as many of us know, there were a number of municipalities whose contract was up this year and had very substantial increases. And we will be making sure that through the course of the year that we have some public meetings and some opportunity for input. We want to make sure that this is a very visible process, that it doesn't catch our residents by surprise. We'll also probably be looking at opportunities to help those who may be on fixed incomes, looking for some programs and that sort of thing. So that's, at this meeting coming up on Monday, we should be getting a look at our 2023 budget versus actual, and then discussing any administrative items.
Thank you. Infrastructure and land use, Ms. Compitello.
Sure, I'll start by acknowledging also in our realignment with our current priorities and capacity, we've also renamed this committee slightly. So it is now the Infrastructure and Land Use Committee. And I have two items to brief people on today. First, the multi-municipal zoning project update. We've been working on this for some time now and announcing to people that there will be a phase of public engagement coming in February. We announced at the last meeting that the date is set for February 3rd. So this is a reminder to everyone that is on the calendar. We have a public engagement session on February 3rd. It will be at 11 a.m. in the community center here in Crafton. Our consultant, one of our consultants will be on site, as well as some members of the steering committee. And we are hoping that there will be residents who will come out and participate in that session. We'll be presenting some of the draft updates and the major changes and the reasoning why behind them, but it is still very much draft. So before the full code update and rewrite is finalized, we want to run some of the ideas by the community and hear what people are looking for and see how people are responding to some of the updates. Our zoning consultant is essentially updating our code to reflect the values and ideals in our comprehensive plan, Crafton Ingram Thrive from 2017, as well as bringing it up to modern legal standards and best practices, because we did have components in that code that were several decades old. We'll be putting out some information. We just got flyers from those consultants, so we'll be putting those out on Savvy Citizen regularly over the next week and a half until February 3rd. So keep an eye out for that too, and please spread the word with anyone you think might be interested in stopping by. And then second, on my committee's agenda is the trail planning grant. We did get a grant late last year to do some trail planning. This is building upon a lot of community interest that was expressed during our parks master planning process. We weren't able to get into a lot of detail with the trail planning at that time because it was not a part of the scope of the master parks planning process, but we certainly heard from a lot of community residents that was something people were interested in. And we pursued some grant funding last year and got that grant funding. So we will be proceeding with a trail planning process this year. We will be looking for a steering committee of residents who are interested in being a part of that. Because we have these two planning processes both right around the same time, we are waiting to formally open up a steering committee application process until after that February 3rd public engagement event for zoning, just so we don't confuse people. But if you are interested in that, certainly keep it in mind. We'll have a pretty basic application process, much like we've had before. We'll probably ask people to email a statement of interest to the borough manager. That's all for my committee.
Thank you, Ms. Compitello. Planning Commission, Mr. Radella.
Hello, so our next meeting was pushed to next week, so I'll have a report following council meeting. Thank you.
Thanks. Communication and Recreation, Ms. Bolenbacher.
Okay, we have set all of our events for the year with no real detail for any of them yet, but if anybody's interested in the dates, we do have 4 senior dinners this year. First one will be March 2nd, followed by May 4th, August 3rd, and November 2nd. We are having our annual cleanup Arbor Day in the park that has the shredder bins and the large what's the word I'm looking for? Dumpsters, thank you. And that's going to be on Saturday, April 27th. And instead of a car cruise this year, we are going to have a music festival. So we are going to do that on Saturday, June 1st. We have our usual Independence Day celebration on July 4th, which is a Thursday this year. We're going to do Fall Fest again since that was so successful last year, and that's going to fall on Saturday, September 28th. We are going to continue with Haunted Crafton. That'll start on October 19th with the Haunted Tour as well as a trunk or treat this year. We're going to do both, and that'll go up through Halloween. And then our Celebration of Lights will be on Saturday, December 7th, with our Christmas House Tour returning again on December 15th, which is a Sunday. So that's it for upcoming events, but that's quite enough, I think. For logos, we did meet with the group that's going to be doing our logo for Crafton. They seem really excited because they are residents and they're really excited to do something to represent Crafton. They said it would be about 6 to 8 weeks before we got a really good group. They're going to provide us with a couple different options to look at. So once we have more information, we'll be happy to pass that along. Our next newsletter, we are hoping to get out early April. So we're going to ask that all articles will be due on March the 1st. So we'll start putting out those requests. And then lastly, it is time, although it doesn't really feel like it, it is time to start hiring for the pool. So I would like to put out a motion to direct the borough manager to advertise and hire the pool manager, pool staff, and public works summer help.
So moved.
Mr. Chandler,
Second.
Ms. Compatello, any discussion or questions?
I believe that there is a typo in the middle where it says lifeguard wages on the document, unless it's been updated. Okay, thank you.
But thank you.
Any other questions or comments? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion passes.
That's it for my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Commission vacancy, Ms. Bukalnik.
Our first meeting will be next Wednesday, January 31st, for us to kind of talk about our plan to make sure we're advertising throughout this year for our open positions. Currently, all of our open positions can be found on craftonborough.com/commissions. Right now, we do have 2 alternative positions, one on the civil service and one on the zoning hearing board. And then throughout this year, it's gonna be repetitive. I'll probably say this every time I talk. Will be a lot happening throughout this year, but we'll have 2 positions in the library board expiring, one at the end of this month, one on February 28th. Shade Tree Commission, March 31st, a Planning Commission, April 13th, and then the Civil Service one is expiring on July 1st. There are a few more, but those are later in the year. Happy to read them if you need me to, but we're talking September, October, November, December. So just encouraging everyone, if you're interested in being involved, please go to the website to check out what is involved in being on those commissions. And again, we'll work on a good plan for this year to make sure we're clearly advertising these a little bit better so folks know. But that is it.
All right. Thank you. And the COG, Council of Governments, Ms. Bolenbacher.
Okay, the last COG meeting, we did have a speaker. It was from a company called Edge AI. And what they were talking about was a pipeline inspection option that's brand new, well, at least according to us. It's a little battery operated machine that you put in the pipeline. And it kind of runs itself through the pipeline. They're actually based out of Homestead here. And the part of it that they were really kind of promoting was that the fact that it's far more expensive than your traditional ways of looking through pipelines. For example, it's battery operated, so you don't have to worry about an energy source and things like that. So if anybody is interested, I have some information on the company over here. Other than that, the next meeting is Thursday, February 16th at 6:30. My apologies, I believe it's in Bridgeville. But I don't have that information in front of me to confirm. So if I'm wrong, I will let y'all know.
Thanks.
And that's it.
Thank you. All right. Upcoming announcements. Our next council meeting is Thursday, February 8th at 7. We do have, as Ms. Compatello had mentioned, On Saturday, February 3rd at 11 in the community center here is the zoning steering committee, and zoning consultants will be here to talk about the progress on the zoning public engagement update. And the garbage schedule for this year. So the contract was renewed with Waste Management. Like we had mentioned, it's the 10th year of a 10-year contract. There is an increase, as we had mentioned during the budget seasons, but I believe it's about $20 increase from last year to this year. And then from a mailing standpoint, Waste Management will not be mailing out the trifold full flyer anymore, but you will get the calendar with your invoice, which will be coming out any day now and due at the end of February. So more information is on our website. It's all been updated with 2024 information. And as a reminder, our garbage pickup day is on Tuesday, and you can put your garbage out by no earlier than 4:00 p.m. the prior day, and no later than 6 o'clock on the day of collection. Right. Anything else to add to the agenda or any other comments?
There's one other thing that came up at the Connect meeting this morning, which is more of an event, so I'll announce it now. We do also have new county administration. And so it was highlighted that there is a public survey available out. It's called All for All. It's available to all residents to share, take a brief survey. Actually, it's not that brief, but take a multiple answer question survey to share your priorities and preferences for what you want the county to be focusing on. We can make sure that the link to that survey is sent out on Savvy Citizen if anyone is interested. And then the new county administration is also holding a series of listening sessions to meet with residents, and one of them will be in Carnegie this weekend. So I'll make sure that information is also provided to go out on Savvy Citizen. I think it was at 11 in the morning.
Thank you. Anything else? All right, at this time, citizens may address the Crafton Borough Council on any issue. Only residents and taxpayers of the Borough of Crafton will be permitted to address the council. Speakers will be permitted to speak for a maximum of 3 minutes. Groups of people will be required to designate a spokesperson to represent them before the council, who may speak for a maximum of 5 minutes. Please state your name and physical address for the record. Do we have anybody that wants to speak? Okay, Greg.
I make a motion that we invest in a mic stand.
Books.
Anyway, I saw on Savvy Citizen that the golf course, the notice was canceled on Savvy Citizen for the golf course being open. And I just was wondering, is that just a way that Savvy Citizen cancels it, and that, or is that some indication of something going on with the Linden property?
I'll speak on that. That was just a clerical error. I was actually entering the dates in for this year and I had to adjust it, and I had to cancel the first event. So it just sent out a cancellation, but they're all in there for 2024.
Okay. And while we're on a subject, is there any movement on the Linden property as far as the RFP?
Yeah, we can give an update. The RFP has been reviewed by this council and is now with the school board for their review, and we're waiting for the response from them.
All right, well,
That's taken some time.
all right, well, thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Greg. All right, anybody else? If you're on Zoom, you may raise your hand. Right. Okay, with that, meeting is adjourned.